Happy days, everybody. Happy reading days, happy book days, happy it's almost summer days. I just want to welcome you to Talking Books with Tanisha. Um, I have a book I just finished reading this morning. It took me a while longer to read this. I've been trying to move slowly from um, reading kind of like super technical books for work into like reading more books that are for my own pleasure and amusement and just entertainment. And so whenever I make that shift, it always takes me a little bit to kind of get back into the flow of like not reading to study, but reading to just be able to kind of enjoy a story and kind of go deeper into a story. So, How Lucky is a book that actually was recommended to me by my friend Lauren. And I'm actually going to put Lauren's Instagram into the comments because Lauren has a book vlog as well. She posts on Instagram about the books that she's reading. And this was one that I saw her reading and she recommended it to me. I took a picture of it and I just finished it. For those of you who have ever liked any Alfred Hitchcock, Rear Window is what comes to mind when I think about How Lucky. Um, Before I jump into it, hi, I'm Tanisha. Welcome to Talking Books with Tanisha. This is a whole channel about just really good books, books that I recommend to people of all ages. But mostly with like the intent of like just getting books in your hand and encouraging reading and remembering that reading is fun and joyful. And so today I'm going to talk about the book How Lucky by Will Leach. This is my first book having read by him. I've never read this author before. Apparently, he also is like a New York Times contributor. He writes for lots of like kind of news posts like NBC News and Medium and other kind of like sports things. Um, I'm not really into sports or anything. Sports is featured in this book, but this is my first time reading from him. And I just really like the idea of this kind of like this premise. So let me give you like kind of like the idea of what this story is about. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I never spoil the books, but I do want to encourage you if you're a fan of like Alfred Hitchcock, Agatha Christie, if you like a little bit of mystery, a little bit suspense, um, kind of like heading towards the role of like Misery a little bit. If you like Stephen King, not quite as not quite as bad as Annie, that main character in Misery, but this is a story of a man named Daniel, and Daniel is living with disease called AMS, which is it's a disease, sorry, SMA, and SMA is spinal muscular atrophy. And it really is about a disease that basically slowly, as you are, from the time you're like kind of growing and starting to develop your muscles and you're developing physically, your body starts kind of like shutting down is how it's described in this book. He's in an interesting space where it's kind of before they started getting a lot of forward treatment, a lot of forward research. Um, and after he's been diagnosed. And so a lot of things that more current people that have SMA are dealing with, he's not dealing with, which means that he has some of the symptoms in more kind of severe ways. He no longer can speak. He no longer can move on his own. He is in a wheelchair and he can move his wheelchair, but his own physical ability is very limited, and so he relies on other adults to come in and help support him. He talks a lot, and for this is a whole first person book, and so a lot of it is like he's talking directly to us as readers about what it means for him to be a person living with this disability, and also to be visible, like not to forget who he is, but inside of like the disability that he is presenting, because inside are all the thoughts and ideas, fears and joys and celebrations that are going on inside of him, and it's important that that's written that way because he witnesses a crime. And so I can tell you this much. He's outside, he's witnessing a crime, an abduction, and no one really sees what's happening except for him. And he has to figure out a way to communicate this to other people. It gets really messy from that part on because he starts having communication with someone who is not as innocent as he might seem. And so there is some danger that Daniel's going to find himself in. But it also is like I think a kind of an awareness around like just how sensitive and how delicate all of our lives really are. So this is a very much like kind of a mystery, a little bit of a thriller. There is a little bit of violence in here. There are like some graphic scenes in terms of like not super graphic, but you know, like there's like some stuff where he's bleeding or has like other kind of like bodily fluids that are happening. and other things that are happening between like one of the main characters, a villain in the story, and how he has some victims. What I appreciate about this, because I also, like I said before, I'm a big Alfred Hitchcock fan in some movies. Like I like Vertigo, I like Rear Window, I like like Birds. Like I like some of those kind of things because they make you kind of think and they take the time building the story up. And something that Alfred Hitchcock was really masterful in, it was like taking the time to build the story up. And so that's what happens in this book. There's time that story is being built. And so you don't have to be like impatient. You take your time and he develops a story for you. If you're interested in books like that, I want to recommend How Lucky. I think you'll like it. It's a pretty quick read. It's really interesting. It's told in a matter of, I think, over 3 or 4 days. Um, and it's nice. Like it's kind of a nice, interesting read with a little bit of a pretty strong twist in there. So I'm not going to spoil the twist for you. You have to read it yourself. I hope you enjoy it. If you like what you're hearing, please like, share, and subscribe. And then get another book. Get another book that you're enjoying. Share it with me. Tell me what you're reading right now. We're getting really close to the summer dump. I'm going to tell you all the books that I think will be really fun for you to read this summer. Fun, easy, light books that are just going to bring some joy to you and it'll help you just kind of relax. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I love when you tune in. When you listen to me talk about books, but I mostly want to hear you talk about the books that you're reading too. So keep sharing those. Thanks.